What's up, everybody? This is Colombian Love 41, and I'm back bringing you another unboxing review video of the Hot Toys Mark 41 Bones Retro Armor version, which is the Sideshow San Diego exclusive for 2017. This is basically his body taken apart, not unscrewing anything or anything like that because of the magnets and the way that this is made to be separated. It basically everything comes apart. Now this is the figure in the broken down form on the stand. To kind of give you an idea, you have kind of a normal base stand there, and as it moves up and you see the next piece of the sort of spider arm stand, I'll show you a picture of it, and you can see that there are the four arms that come off, the center portion that clamps onto the torso, and then the top part that sort of plugs into the bottom with these two little pieces, and extending back down into the stand. And then, as you can see, the piece in the back that hooks on to the extending part down into the, I guess, center area, or the main clamp that has all the different pieces that kind of protrude off of it. And then the torso, you can see in here, is clamped onto this. Obviously there wouldn't be a way to really make this in clear pieces. I know they do it with some other 6-scale companies, some of the smaller scaled figures use kind of that clear plastic. I don't think it would have necessarily looked better here. It's just, it's tough to really get that full effect like you're looking for with this. Now, that being said, it's really a cool figure. The idea that it breaks down into this and you can display it if you have the room like this with the thrusters out is actually pretty cool. And it's what makes Bones completely unique. Obviously, other than the other Bones, but you know, this is the retro armor version, and that one's just the standard version, which is more of a black and gold, and this is a red and a bright gold. Well, I'd say the other one's black and copper rather than black and gold. But let's check this figure out back together again, to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. Maybe check out some of the pieces a little closer. So this is the figure only sort of half together. I'm kind of going to break down how everything works together. And we'll actually start with the torso piece here. The torso obviously separates, like I was saying, and this part here, the head is magnetic, and then the batteries are completely independent and light up the eyes on their own. So there's no battery kind of running in here or anything like that. It's completely independent in the headpiece. Now when you're looking at the bottom, there's a small red piece that's like kind of odd looking. That would snap into here, and then this piece goes into the stand, which kind of gives it that extended look off of the torso, so it's not right on top of it. Now be careful getting this in or off the stand, because of its wishbone like shape. It seems like if you were to tug on one side harder than the other, you're probably going to end up breaking it. So what you would do is take this top part and the torso, and it just magnetically connects right in there. Now on the inside, this is one of the places where they have the stickers. The idea is for it to look sort of like this material. It's kind of textured and then painted. The reason why I'm thinking they didn't do that here is because of putting the top part in and out of here, you might end up wearing off the paint. So for them to give you two sets of stickers, it's a little easier to replace than trying to repaint or fix the paint on a piece, because you can see like this figure is incredibly highly detailed. There's a back panel here. If you were to take the back panel off, that's where the batteries go and the switch for the arc reactor on the front. The other part of the torso is the bottom part of the legs here, and they will extend down if you want to get some different poses out of this. So you do get a little more room in the hips here. And then they just slide back up and clamp in. And what you would do for the thruster piece is you just slide it over the bottom peg here, and it's done. As far as the arm goes, the arm has these little detailed moving parts, and I think that's kind of how it should look, but you can adjust them however you feel like it. This also comes out of the shoulder joint, and what you would do is you would angle this upward like so, and then you attach the thruster piece here, and there you go. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do up front is take the arm piece and pull this down some, because if it's too high up in here, I mean, this is flush, but his arm will not straighten, and if you try to straighten it, this elbow piece will pop off. And I don't know if after so many times popping off, you're going to have to glue it on or something. But what you do is you hold the bicep here and then right at the elbow joint. You just pull down a little bit and it extends down. Then you can straighten out the arm or curve the elbow a little bit better. And then if you take the forearm piece, because it's magnetic, it just pops right on. Now, the forearm piece has one screw. Let's see if I can get, there you go. One screw, and then the switch for the light for the palm, and then the hands swap out, and you get 3 pairs of hands, which one pair has the flexible fingers, one is the fist, and one is the open palm sort of look. The open palm and the movable fingers one are still the only kind that have the light up function. The fist does not. It's that solid painted thing that they do with them, which I wasn't expecting them to do anything different, to be honest with you. Now, moving on down into the leg, this is where that other sticker comes into play. Get a little more light in here. This is where that other sticker comes into play. And again, it's supposed to look kind of like that meshy material. I think it looks better with the sticker in, personally, but it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. Flexibility of the leg is actually pretty decent. It has a double joint at the knee, so it bends back pretty far. The feet move, and then the bottoms of the feet extend downward a little bit to get a little more motion on them. So you just snap it back and forth like that, and then obviously you have the little top cover for the leg. Now, as far as the thruster piece goes for the leg, you get the foot peg one, goes right into this hole here, and then bickety bam, it's in. One thing I almost forgot to mention is if you're turning on the arc reactor piece, it's much easier to take the torso off first, and then the back panel just kind of pops right off. So makes life so much easier. Rather than they do give you one of those little plastic tools to pry certain pieces apart, to get batteries in or what have you, probably even to get that off, but it's just a ton easier if you take it apart. Now, kind of getting a look at this figure, he is really, really nice. Say the very first thing that I noticed is that this figure is light. Obviously he's going to be light because if you're going to break him apart and put him on this stand, the stand can only hold so much. Kind of like you can't usually use a dynamic stand in a die-cast figure because they're too heavy. So making this figure die-cast wouldn't have been a good idea. And you probably would have seen a ton of issues with it. As far as the paint goes, the paint on this is really, really beautiful. There's a lot of this little fine gold in it, little pieces of like this chrome silver in various spots, including like, you know, like the elbow joints, but even in here in his torso area or even the upper part, when the light hits it, it just looks really shiny and metallic. I mean, the paint that they use for this really makes him look like a metal figure, but they've been doing a really good job with that with a lot of the other Iron Man figures, so I'm kind of not surprised that paint wise this looks as good as it does. Like I said, you have these sort of shoulder moving decorative pieces. I have posed them a little bit different than Hot Toys did in their final photos. I sort of did something that's a little more streamlined with the figure, but with theirs I think they kind of had them sort of sticking out a little more like that. And it's totally up to you what you want to do. I mean, obviously that's kind of the nice thing about this figure is you do get the freedom to be able to pose him in a lot of different ways, just because he is a little more flexible than some of the other figures. So really with him, you don't have to do just the broken down version of him on the stand. I mean, obviously you can pose him in various ways. His torso here also extends out like most of the figures, and you're able to kind of swivel it only so far, but this piece in the middle moves, so you do get a little more movement to be able to pose them kind of how you want. And I don't know, like I'm just kind of, maybe mesmerized isn't exactly the word, but I'm excited about this figure. I think he's really well done. Like I said, totally blew away my expectations. Detailing wise, just absolutely beautiful. Paint finishes, I mean, you look at the various things on the backs of his legs, the various what would be the, you know, the moving parts or what have you. Because everything is magnetic and not exactly has to move in a certain way, you have the ability to kind of give him a little more movement that you might not see in a lot of other figures. And I'm happy with it. I'm glad that he's a part of my little house party protocol I got going on here. And yeah, I'm really excited to put him with the rest of the collection. So like I said, this is a Sideshow's San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. They do still have them on their website right now, so if you're looking for it, it's the Iron Man XLI, which is the Mark 41 Bones in the retro armor version, exclusive for SDCC 2017. He has red and gold metallic paint, 3 pairs of interchangeable hands, 8 thrusters, a dynamic stand for showing in the split apart pose, and magnetic pieces pretty much everywhere. So has a lot of good posing and articulation. He's available now. He's $300. You can get him on a payment plan, and that $300 is before shipping and taxes. But I would say definitely pick this up, especially if you're an Iron Man fan and you're looking to add a new Iron Man to your collection. This is something that's very different, and even if you already have the other bones, I mean, just the red and gold that's on this, the red, gold, and silver that's on this look awesome. It's so highly detailed. This is something that I'm happy just to have in the form he is. I don't think that he would even need to be in a die cast. I've said before that kind of like, you know, all Iron Man figures should be die cast, but that's not necessarily true in this situation. Him being the plastic that he is actually works out, and you know, since they do such a good job with the high gloss paint on figures, I mean, certain things do look metal anyway. I mean, his helmet alone, just kind of the reflections and shades that I've been getting off it, moving it around, taking photos, things like that, looks excellent. So that's it. Check out the written review. It's going to be on highdefninja.com. You can leave a comment here or any questions. Like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And on social media, I'm at ColumbianLove41. So any questions there too, just feel free to ask. I'll answer them. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.